In the studio now to debate the smoking ban in tonight's Maryland Pulse are Eric Jaffe, attorney for the plaintiffs, and Mark Breaux, a community organizer with Smoke Free Maryland. And we invite you to join us. You can give us a phone call with a question or comment. The number will be on the screen. On the other side, why is this a good law?
Well, I think it's a good law because, again, we have to keep in mind that this is a health issue, and this was passed by the Board of Health. I think it just underscores the fact that this is important as a health issue. And I guess, Mr. Jaffe, I would think that you and the National Smokers Alliance, from what you say, would want to join us if we could get this done in a way that would be palatable for your side. You're saying that you're interested only in the way it was done procedurally.
No.
Are you interested only in procedure, or the fact that people will not be allowed to smoke in 2010?
Not at all. Not at all. The question was about the lawsuit, and the lawsuit was merely about procedure. At a policy level, we also disagree with the ban, but that is a separate question as to whether the ban was legally defective. We also think the ban is a bad idea. We think people ought to have free choice. If they want to smoke, they should have a place to go and smoke. If they don't want to smoke, they should have places they can go where there is no smoking.
In fact, actually, about 80% of restaurants in Montgomery County are smoke-free.
All the more reason that we don't need a ban.
I disagree with that in that this is a worker protection issue. The vast majority of people here in Maryland, myself, I'm sure while you practice in D.C., but most of us here in Maryland enjoy a smoke-free workplace as mandated by the state of Maryland. The restaurant industry, the hospitality industry are the only workers that have been able to become exempted from this. What we have in Montgomery County are people on the Board of Health. I'm talking about people like Phil Andrews, Ike Leggett, of course, who was president of the council at the time, Blair Ewing, who said, look, this is not okay. We've got 22,000 restaurant workers in Montgomery County who are not protected by this law. We're given the right by the state of Maryland to include these people to go further. Not to make it weaker, but we can go further, and that's what they did. It's a health issue. They did it as the Board of Health. It makes sense.
Well, with all due respect to Mr. Leggett, the people he supposedly is protecting disagree with him. They don't want this ban. There are plenty of jobs for workers who want to work in smoke-free environments.
Looking around Maryland, what's the landscape in other parts of the state in terms of regulations at this point? Are there sections of Maryland where every restaurant has a smoking area, or do we have this division of smoking and non-smoking statewide right now?
In the state of Maryland, we do have a division where smoking is allowed in the bar area for restaurants that have a liquor license, and one row of tables away, or a separate room for smoking, not to exceed 40%, I think it is. What we do have in in Howard County is an exception for separately enclosed ventilated rooms. That's what County Executive Doug Duncan is proposing. What this Board of Health has decided is that that's not acceptable. Doug Duncan has said, you know, let's work out some kind of compromise. But what happens with that is that we don't protect all the workers involved. In fact, we expose those workers even more so to those people that are working in the smoking section. We expose them more to this carcinogen, this health hazard. And no other industry, Mr. Jaffe, does that. Only the hospitality industry. And I think these people are worth more than that.
Okay, so is the next stop saying that you can't drink in bars either because alcohol can be hazardous?
I think that's the kind of ridiculous question that people keep bringing up all the time. People say, well, you shouldn't eat. Next, they're going to ban fast foods. They're going to ban things that...
It's true. Big Macs aren't that healthy.
Big Macs are not that healthy, but that's not our issue. This is about secondhand smoke. This is about people who choose to smoke that violate another person's right to breathe. People with asthma. I mean, we're talking about 40,000 people in Montgomery County who have some form of chronic lung disease that... For civil rights, I mean, this is a civil rights issue. They cannot go into a public place because they can't breathe if there's smoking involved. If you're talking about Big Macs...
But what you're saying is that they can go into 80% of the public places where there is a non-smoking policy.
Why should they have to do that? These are places that are open to the public. It is a civil rights issue. I mean, if you go back years, if we say, okay, well, 80% of restaurants are open to African Americans, open to whatever group you choose, that is not acceptable.
I want to let Eric respond to that analogy and then get back to the phones.
Sure. This is nothing at all like African Americans. This is about a choice on how one wants to live one's life. It is not about whether race is involved, which is an immutable characteristic. The fact that some people have lung disease and thus would be more bothered by smoke suggests that they can go to those 90 places.
Mark, what about other industries where people are exposed? Firefighters. I mean, how do you take the smoke out of fighting fires? Is that a valid comparison?
Fires, I don't think we can do anything about. Smoking, we definitely can. This is something that's very simple. We can go 100% smoke-free. Fighting fires is a completely different issue.
What about the economic argument that this is going to hurt establishments locally in Montgomery County?
Well, first of all, I don't think we should even look at the economic argument. I think that's ridiculous to put a price on human health and to put a price on human life. If we must look at that argument, however, we can look at other jurisdictions that look at this just from tax data, from tax receipts that come in. Smoke-free is good for business. It's good for business. If any business says that they can't survive with a smoking ban, I think that's ridiculous. You look at Montgomery County, these people have been given more than 2 years to prepare for this. They can choose not to prepare or to go gradually smoke-free and to adjust their clientele.
Let's take another call. Richie from Anne Arundel County. Richie, go ahead.
How you doing? My opinion is being a smoker myself, I feel that they're starting to infringe on the rights of us, the smokers. We have been around for a long time since this country basically was formed. Tobacco has been a big industry, and people have been smoking. I mean, people have the right of choice. The choice has become from the government now here in Maryland that we cannot smoke.
Thanks very much. Shouldn't smokers have a place where they can have a beer and a cigarette?
If this place is a place of public accommodation, then I think the right for a person to breathe clean air supersedes the right for a person to have a cigarette. We're not prohibitionists. We don't want to say that people cannot smoke cigarettes, but there's a place for it. Clean air is more important than a right to smoke a cigarette.